You're on.
Joined us this morning. Welcome to the live stream. Guys, we are headed off this afternoon to Chelsea Manning's detention center. Jeremy Hammond is also being held at this detention center. But we wanted to do a little discussion on the day's news and connect with everybody before we set off on our next action. Do we want to kick off with a little bit about what is being discussed in Julian's trial this morning?
Sure. Friend of the show and partner with the Watchdog Network, Tarek Haddad, has a thread up on Twitter breaking down what happened this morning. He starts out, and this is just incredibly fascinating shit because it's a first-person perspective from Julian Assange as to how the proceedings are going according to him. After District Judge Vanessa Berry-Ester asked Assange's lawyers to check on him, he stood up to address the court. I'm as much a participant in these proceedings as I am a spectator in Wimbledon. The other side must have something like 100 contact hours. There is already enough spying on my lawyers as it is. There are a number of unnamed embassy officials here. There are 2 microphones in here. What's the point of asking if I can concentrate if I can't participate? Assange's lawyers will make an application for him to sit alongside them on the benches tomorrow. Because remember, at this point, he's still in the human cage. He's in the plastic box with a couple of air holes in it so he can sort of breathe. And that's it. That's where he's being kept during the court proceedings. Edward Fitzgerald said he's a gentleman of an intellectual nature. There is no reason for him not to sit with us. Can you think of a reason why he should be in the Hannibal Lecter cage?
Well,
Absolutely not.
The U.S. prosecutors even agreed that he should be sitting with his lawyers. It's the judge who's not allowing this, is what we're getting from some other tweets too.
And this is the judge who has family members named in the WikiLeaks release.
No, that's Abernoff.
That's Abernoff? Okay.
Yeah.
This is Berry-Ester. Although I think her husband is, he might be in one of the, I can't, God damn it.
See if anybody in the chat
Right.
that.
Can we get a fact check on that?
I think it's pretty ridiculous.
Abernoff is the one.
I knew that bit, but I thought Berry-Ester's husband was,
There was
crooked
some-
as a
yeah.
dog's hind leg as well.
Like, why are you treating somebody who's never committed a violent crime in his entire life like Hannibal Lecter? Like, literally like Hannibal Lecter. Like, it's
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs, and we're worried about someone's face being eaten. He's not going to attack anybody. He has no violent criminal past. This is it's a kangaroo court based on an intellectual crime. No reason for him not to be sitting there, except for to set an example of don't be this guy or we will do the same thing to you.
And
It's-
the optics to an obedient, compliant media, the theme for his prosecution is cyber terrorism, not even like secondary to whatever they can say about hacking.
Well, public
Yeah.
disclosure organizations now with the NDAA 2020 are the equivalent of a terrorist
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah.
Correct.
But I think a lot of it is Ron Placone described Julian's situation as an Orwellian execution,
Mhm.
where they are trying to drag him out as long as they can to scare as many people as possible from standing up and fighting back.
I think that's the right assessment, right? I mean, most people that know about this, it has to send a chilling effect that things that other media organizations, even mainstream ones, have done for years. The Afghanistan papers, okay, they vetted them for 3 years. Well, we're finding out that Julian Assange, through his lawyers, not only vetted these things, but vetted them with the assistance of the media, giving them redacted versions of these documents first, many of which they never published anyway, many of which they never did stories on anyway. But then when some information was coming out, right? What happened? Well, all of a sudden, Julian Assange, apparently, and this is coming out in court today, and his team called the White House and warned them that there would be information that may actually put people in danger, that they could not be responsible for. And they were ignored. What does that tell you? Does that tell you that your government is responsible for their kidnappings, deaths, disappearance, or Julian Assange. He warned them.
Right.
Secondly, I would say that the burden of proof is on the prosecution to show that any information that WikiLeaks put out, redacted or otherwise, caused anybody to be disappeared. When you are in the spy game, when you are an asset of the Central Intelligence Agency or a sub-organization or an FBI informant, etc., chances are you're already in some shady shit.
And Chelsea Manning's court case, her
2013, yeah.
war crime tribunal, not even a standard like civilian legal proceeding. The government was forced to say we have no evidence of anyone getting injured. So they can literally take that statement from the government, apply it in this extradition hearing, and say, no, you guys already argued no one got hurt. You can't make
Right.
that
You
case.
testified that no one got hurt.
You know what? I wish that I was a little bit more optimistic, but like Patrick Henningsen, he did a great short interview yesterday, and he said, you know, the defense is obviously very, very well prepared. They're putting out facts. And a lot of people are asking me, well, why does the prosecution seem so ill prepared and so wrong in this? And he's like, because it's a kangaroo court and they don't even have to try. And you have to think to yourself, if this judge is already preemptively putting Julian Assange in a glass cage for the world to see,
and then lying about it, about the volume and the sound that he can hear in relation to the court case, and blaming the people outside supporting him when he cannot hear or see out of this glass box.
I feel like the prosecution could sit up there and just say peanut butter jelly time for 3 hours, and they're going to get a slam dunk by this judge.
Have a baseball bat here.
Like, seriously.
I have heard
Why
your
even try?
message.
Yeah, that's it.
It's craziness that it's even been allowed to escalate to this point where it's such a just a show trial. And even the information that Dana Rohrabacher that Kim.com released that we went over last night, as well as the recording that Cassandra released, it just shows how political this is, and that this was literally just Donald Trump trying to get information that was already in the public spotlight. Like the information about Seth Rich, Julian Assange, before Rohrabacher even came, had offered a $20,000 reward for the evidence of his murder. Before that, he even went on Sean Hannity and said, this wasn't any state actors, it wasn't Russia. So the fact that it even gets brought up this way is fucking insane.
And let's talk about the timeline and Richard Grenell quick, because I think it's really important, right? So what it seems like to me is you have two reasons that this indictment happens. Because remember, the indictment doesn't happen under the Obama administration. Under the Obama administration, they have a different way to go after them. And even with this indictment, and coincides with that, with the Trump administration, we have Sheldon Adelson's personal spy company that, you know, like, what's the movie with George Clooney when they failed to kill him?
Syriana.
Not Syriana. The other one, Michael Clayton. Michael Clayton.
Oh, I was going for Ocean's 11.
Well, just so people get my Hollywood reference, Michael Clayton, there are 2 points in this. One, where a large organization hires a private spy firm, not only to do spying, but murder people. So they go in, they murder a guy, they shoot him in his toes with poison, they have it all tapped out, make it look like he had a heart attack, dies. They tried to kill Clayton in a car bomb, but this shows you the privatized nature of spies and assassinations. Well, this ex-employee of MC Global says what? 3 things. He says, we had a plan to kidnap him, we had a plan to poison him, and we had a plan to murder him, make it look like an accident. All right. Now, if they're going to go that far, and you look at Grenell post-Rohrabacher meeting, when Assange had basically said, I'm not doing it. I mean, if you look at those conversations that he put out with Kim.com, he said, the Constitution and Bill of Rights protects me. If he wants to go this route, he can suffer the same as the Democrats can, right? And which kind of has, except for no one's paying attention.
Right.
So you have Aaron Schwartz, who is one of Richard Grenell's assistants. And somehow, again, I didn't watch the Periscope from Cassandra Fairbanks, but he gets in touch with her and they're having conversations. Cassandra then posts information on Grenell that she believes has already been outed by ABC News.
Well, what
No,
it is,
she retweeted ABC.
well, no,
That's it.
she had shared information with some of the people around her, I believe, just as a, hey, I have this if something happens kind of event. and then one or some of those people released that to ABC, is
Yeah.
my understanding.
Yep.
I don't know if that's 100%, but that was the way I got it. And then that's where that Richard Grinnell story picks up, is with them calling her for retweeting the ABC article about the information.
Grinnell
So it was
calls
just
her-
a retweet.
Yeah, Grinnell
Right.
calls her
I believe
panic, or at
so.
least that's what she says in the recording.
Yeah.
All I did was retweet ABC, but because she's Cassandra Fairbanks and he's Rick Grinnell, they both know that they had all of their conversation prior. What Grinnell doesn't know is that she told some close friends, in case I fucking step on a rake.
As she should. It's the only way to protect herself. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think people realize this is life and death for this woman, who is
So-
also a mother.
Who's
Yeah.
already
Right.
been smeared for the videos that came out of the prison about Julian.
Yeah.
That literally
Right.
stepped back because of the attacks against her for trying to do something in his benefit.
And
these
she might have
conversations-
saved his fucking life.
Right.
and these
Like,
Like
conversations
straight up, that's no bullshit. That's real shit. Cassandra Fairbanks might have saved Julian's life because she refused to fucking leave.
Mhm. And remember, these conversations were already being leaked to the press, not by Cassandra. That's why she's
Right,
releasing
right,
these,
right.
because
Right.
they've been leaked to the press, who's then spinning it. Like the headlines are things
Mhm.
like somebody's going to go to jail,
Mhm.
not on the orders of the effing president.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That should be the headline, but it's nowhere. So that should show you that as much as this media hates the orange man, when it comes to Assange, they're not going to call him out. And you have to ask yourself why. It's because the permanent state has been and continues to be in control. And the only way that Trump is going to get my respect at this point is to swallow his pride, swallow his ego, right? And just, hey, he didn't take the pardon. And then people probably like Pompeo, Barr come to him and say, well, these are the soldiers that were disappeared. This guy
Mhm.
cost lives.
Mhm.
And that's just the icing on the cake that'll get the ball rolling for Trump to bring a Grinnell in and say, listen, I'm going to make you my new intel chief. But first, we got to wrap this indictment up first. on
Grinnell was
Assange."
the back channel between Trump and Lenin Moreno
Mhm.
through his job at the German embassies, Germany's ambassador. That's how he laid the groundwork for this. He was elevated through his work of handing Assange to Trump. This is his reward for that. And you can hear the panic in his voice on that phone. We played the phone call last night. We showed the text with, or the conversation between Kim.com and Julian, and we played all 22 minutes of the Cy Hirsch video as well, because we were
And if-
talking about going to.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. So, guys, just while you can't see me and maybe you can hear me, there is a thread currently on day 3's extradition hearing on Assange by Kevin Gastolza. And basically what we're seeing are arguments for and against extradition based on previous treaties.
Right. So
Okay.
yeah, that sounds like a lot of what's been happening in the court today has been breaking down whether or not this is a political offense, what the treaties say, and just because the treaties say so, does that mean it's officially English law? And does the court have to adhere to the treaty? I think there was maybe even an argument the U.S. made that's just like, well, we just put this into all our treaties so our citizens don't get extradited on political charges.
Oh.
Right. And the First Amendment only applies if you're an American citizen,
Right.
but the Espionage Act applies to any journalist or reporter on the world.
Right.
And that's something that we've been trying to hammer home while we're walking around in DC and while we're holding events here. But it's something like we need you guys to do too. When, on social media, in your regular life, whatever, like if you find a way to inject this into the conversation, just in general, what's happening to Julian Assange, what's happening to Chelsea Manning, what's happening to Jeremy Hammond, if you find an opening, take the opening first, and then remind people, yeah, First Amendment laws don't apply. The laws that apply to every other journalist on the planet no longer apply because the Espionage Act can be used extraterritorially for political purposes.
Right. To remove anyone who violates the national interest of the United States, which is saying who violates the corporate profits of the companies that run our government.
Yeah.
anything. It doesn't even have to be a corporate profit. It's national interest.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you could say that chocolate chip cookie dough is a national interest of the United States, and that's it. You push the production down.
Right.
Terrorist.
Fucked
So
up.
it
Terrorist.
looks like this came out about 5 minutes ago. And this is on one of Kevin's threads. He's saying that Lewis, who I believe is one of the U.S. prosecutors, says the political offense exception was abolished by omission by Parliament. So he's saying judge must only apply what was prescribed in the Extradition Act itself, which is this is being contested by the defense. So yeah, this is still ongoing in the court right now. They're still having this discussion over the Extradition Act in the UK. Sorry, I'm just trying to scan through these most recent ones really quick. Yeah, this is Prosecutor James Lewis is the one that's speaking right now. They've also talked about, looks like they were again revisiting the idea of Julian being released from the dock, and that requires an application of bail because if they release him from the dock, then he doesn't legally have to surrender back to the court. Which, I mean, the argument can be made that there is no reason he should be surrendering to the court because he is being held without charge or sentence right now. So.
Right. There's nothing keeping him there except the pure force of the United States wanting him to come to our country.
And coming to a court that is a kangaroo court in every sense. When you have a court that has never found somebody innocent or not guilty, when it has 100% conviction rate, 100%, not 99, not 99.9, 100, John Kiriakou and others, every single major whistleblower has gone before this judge, and every single one has been convicted. Kiriakou has talked about this. He actually told Snowden to stay out of the country because they chose that judge, whether you like Snowden or not. Kiriakou is the real deal. So is there a better definition of a kangaroo court than 100% conviction rate by a judge?
Not
Only if
even
it's a
little bit.
secret court.
Yeah.
Which this one might as well be.
Right. Well, no, because it'll get placed under basically a veil of censorship.
Yes.
So the jurors will only be able to understand things in obfuscated terms. So they would read Julian Assange released information about puppy dogs and ice cream, which was found to be dangerous for buttercups and butterflies. And so the jury, when they're going through this, won't even get a real report of what he is being put on trial for.
And
Because
Kiriakou also says that they're going to stack the jury with
Of course.
intel officers.
They can't
period.
not.
Yeah.
The Eastern District of Virginia Court is right there in the heart, right by where we're going today, as a matter of fact. But it's where national security professionals live, like of all stripes. That whole Northern Virginia area is just it's housing for the NatSec community. Like FBI directors and assistant directors get nice little houses out there and shit. Like it's impossible to think of them having a jury field that wasn't made up almost entirely of either relatives, close friends, or former and current employees of the national security state, just based on demographics.
Which is insanity, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no way. Again, there's just no way that somebody like that is going to get a fair trial, and that jurors won't be cherry picked.
Yeah,
they
they're not
won't
going
know.
to get like a hot barista with a nose ring, and like that's not going to happen. It's not going to work out on the jury panel. Guys, we got about 30 seconds left.
Josh is getting a drink. We probably got about a minute.
Okay, we got about a minute left, and then we have to throw our stuff into some vehicles, get to the William Truesdale Detention Center in Alexandria, Virginia, where we will be kicking off our demonstration on behalf of Chelsea Manning and Jeremy Hammond, who are incarcerated inside. So if you are in Northern Virginia, if you're in the DC area, you can make it down in the next hour or so, 2 hours. We will be there. We're going to be making a ton of noise. We're wearing matching outfits for the most part, except for Andrew, who's kind of,
Too fat to fit into the shirt.
he's a maverick.
Too fat to fish.
But thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you are watching and you donated to the GoFundMe, thank you.
Thank you.
We just got a $100 super chat for Action for Assange. Who's it from?
Kick ass.
It is from Mayamere
Oh, he's- yeah.
India
In
Panhandle.
the Panhandle.
Thank
India
Thank you
Panhandle.
so much.
So you guys are awesome. I know it's like hard to tell, but we're going minimum 12 hours a day on this.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday I picked up Christy and Dak at 7:30 in the morning. We made our way over to the Sputnik Studios, did fault lines, and I didn't stop until about 1 this morning.
Yeah.
When we just all drop at the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
time.
We all
Yeah.
kind of crash.
So we couldn't be putting in this work without your help. So thank you.
Yes.
That about it? I mean, I do want to say that there's an emergency First Amendment speech by the InfoWars crew tonight. Alex Jones, Millie Weaver, Owen Schroy are going to be there. Gavin McInnes. I've got an interview with Patrick Howley. I'm staying at that hotel. As long as they don't kick me out, I'm live streaming the whole thing, and I'm going to ask some tough questions if they allow me. If they don't, we'll see.
We need to Jones about us.
I would-
Listen,
Yeah,
Assange, it is unbelievable to me. The only thing InfoWars had on their page in the last couple days about
Let's go to
Assange was a headline from the Ron Paul Institute in which the same deep state that was taken down Assange was taking down Trump. You read the article, and Ron Paul is pointing out the irony that Trump used WikiLeaks to point out the deep state and then went after him.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
most people don't read more than the headline
With the deep state.
with the deep state.
Yeah.
So
No, we were talking about this last night. The both sides of the mouth communication that Trump himself has been doing on this is absolutely just fucking like that should be it for you, Q Warriors. It should be. It should. That should be the final fucking light bulb. Like I have love for you guys. I do.
We want to welcome you over with big hugs and
Yeah.
kittens.
We
But
have
we need you
snacks
to-
even.
Yeah, we've got a lot of snacks here. But you got to take the first step. You got to come over. We'll
And-
reach our hands out.
And
Right.
that
Gonna bring
first
you
step
in.
is doing anything. It is getting out in your community and it is taking action against the injustice of the world. Even if it is a one-person sit-in at a local newspaper or someone walking around their city hall putting up little posters that say free Julian, free Chelsea. Because we're out here doing this, but what we need from you is to have you out there doing it too. So if you could do something for Chelsea today, do something for Julian, do something for Jeremy. Literally because we cannot wait. There is not time anymore for the process to allow it to heal. This is do or die at this point for our free speech and First Amendment for every reporter around the
I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. It's the main event.
world. Good luck to us all.
Exactly.
Mhm.